Am I the a-hole for refusing to make my sister's autistic son leave my wedding, even though my fiancé's parents threatened to walk out? This happened a few weeks ago, and things are still tense. I, 28F, recently got married to my now husband, 30M. We planned a medium-sized wedding, about 80 guests, fairly traditional, nothing super fancy. My sister, 32F, has a 9-year-old son, Jamie, who is on the spectrum. He's verbal but gets overstimulated easily and sometimes makes sudden loud noises or flaps his hands. We all love Jamie, and my sister takes amazing care of him. I've always included him in events and made sure he felt welcome. Fast forward to the wedding, Jamie was seated at the family table and my sister had headphones, fidgets, a sensory kit, all that. During the ceremony, he made a couple of noises, nothing major, just excited squeals. It honestly didn't bother me. I barely noticed. But apparently, my fiancé's parents were livid and called it disruptive. They pulled him aside after and asked him why a child like that was even invited to a formal event. They told him either Jamie had to leave before the reception or they would. My husband told me about it during cocktail hour. I was furious. I said, if they leave, they leave. I'm not kicking out my nephew because they can't handle a child being happy at a wedding. He backed me up and Jamie stayed. They ended up walking out right before dinner. No speech, no toast, nothing. His dad called me a self-centered brat later and said I ruined their son's big day for a performative inclusion stunt. My sister cried when she found out. Jamie didn't fully understand, but he asked why some people don't like my happy sounds. Since then, there's been a rift. My in-laws think I disrespected them. Some of my own family members said I could have just asked my sister to bring Jamie to the ceremony but not the reception and compromised to keep the peace. But to me, that felt like telling my sister her son is a problem we need to hide. So, am I the a-hole for choosing my nephew over keeping the in-laws happy at my wedding?
Why did anyone tell your sister? And why tell Jamie? Just let them leave and move on. They can go pout at home. Children are people too. Your in-laws were out of line telling you which people you could invite to your own wedding.
Yeah, performative inclusive stunt is what sealed it for me. Ableist bigots generally aren't smart enough to use those words. Instead, they use slurs.
Oh, I've heard bigots use that in addition to using slurs. It's usually the highly educated ableist bigots that use performative inclusive stunt. Just because a person is a bigot doesn't mean they're stupid and lack education. They just lack empathy.
In my opinion, if I was the husband, I wouldn't have even said anything and shut my parents down instantly, and also tell them if they are about to walk out of my wedding, they'd be ruining my wedding.
Not the a-hole. To hell with your ignorant, selfish in-laws.
Am I the a-hole for choosing to go to my grandfather's funeral over my unborn daughter's 20-week ultrasound? My wife, F25, and I, M26, are expecting a baby girl due in November. We are both so excited for it. I've been talking to her through my wife's belly, being excited, feeling kicks, all of the fun stuff. 3 weeks ago we scheduled the 20-week ultrasound. It'll be closer to 22 weeks. The last week and a half my grandfather's health had been slowly diminishing. I had a talk with my father and family and were told that sometime within a week of his passing we would have the funeral. This made my wife and I have to talk about the plan. I was asked to be a pallbearer at the funeral. She said she'd want to stay home with the dogs so we didn't have to board them and that I could go by myself to the 4 to 4.5 hour trip up north to my father's hometown. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away late last night, early this morning. I called my father to make sure he was okay, which he was holding on as much as one would when your father passes away. But I was told the funeral would be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. This just so happens to be the exact same day that my wife has the ultrasound. My wife is now upset that I plan to go to my grandfather's funeral instead of go to the ultrasound appointment. I said, well, we could FaceTime? But it's my grandfather, I know FaceTime isn't the same. But she said, yeah, but this is your daughter. Now she is mad and upset at me. I'm emotionally torn from this because I'm so excited for my baby girl but also really sad about my grandfather. The last week and a half my grandfather's health had been slowly diminishing. I had a talk with my father and family and were told that sometime within a week of his passing we would have the funeral. This made my wife and I have to talk about the plan. I was asked to be a pallbearer at the funeral. She said she'd want to stay home with the dogs so we didn't have to board them and that I could go by myself to the 4 to 4.5 hour trip up north to my father's hometown. I just want to know if I'm the a-hole here. My wife's feelings are always going to be valid, but I feel like mine aren't being considered in this situation. I don't know.
This is a reschedule ultrasound situation. The OB would easily do this because funerals take precedence over a routine appointment. I'm shocked your wife wouldn't do this automatically and want to support you.
Your wife needs to reschedule the ultrasound like a normal compassionate spouse and go to the funeral with you. She is the only a-hole here.
Not the a-hole. A 20-week ultrasound is important but can be rescheduled. Worst case, go to a private gyno and pay for it so you can reschedule. It's not just your grandfather, it's your father who needs you. She should understand that.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to kick my little brother, 17M, out of my place at my girlfriend's request so she, 21F, would feel better about moving in with me, 22M? I, 22M, have been taking care of my little brother, 17M, for just over 2 years since our dad died. Our mom died a few years before that. Both had very bad health. He lives with me and goes to the local high school by my apartment. He had to switch high schools to the one close to where I stay because my parents were in a different area, and he works whenever he is not in school. He works 2 part-time jobs during the school year and works full-time throughout the summer. Because even though I took him in, he has a lot of expenses, I just can't afford to cover it all, and wants to save up for the coming years. He shouldn't be in this boat at all, but that's life. He is so young. Life has been very unfair to him, and he is a really good kid. I have been dating my girlfriend for just over a year. She wants to move in and not contribute to the household expenses because I shouldn't charge her rent because she is not a tenant and I am not a landlord, but we are boyfriend and girlfriend, and I should be happy my girlfriend wants to move in with me, and I guess not contribute anything to the household expenses because she sees it as me charging her rent. She also wants me to tell my brother to leave so we can have the space to ourselves and she can have more space. She has referred to him as a freeloader, even though he is just a kid, and I got myself to become his legal guardian. I told her no way. I think I should break up with her over just suggesting this, but I don't know if I should go that far and maybe should try and get her to see where I am coming from.
Let me see if I understand this. Your minor, orphaned brother lives with you and works his butt off to pay as much of his own way as he can. Your girlfriend wants you to kick him out and let her move in for free so you can support her, then she calls him the freeloader? Really? No, you're not the a-hole. But I suspect she's a hobosexual hypocrite.
Not even rent-free, completely expense-free, because apparently her paying for any of her expenses would be paying him rent. This woman is delusional.
At 21 and 22, their relationship likely won't last. But the relationship with his brother through this trauma can create a bond that lasts a lifetime. I know people that raised siblings due to parental death. They bore that responsibility and burden with honor. Any man or woman that dared come between that doesn't deserve to be a part of that family. OP's first responsibility is to himself. His next responsibility is to his brother. If she isn't happy with this, she shouldn't be a part of this relationship. She should be going to college, getting an associate's, or working towards bettering her future.
This one is waving so many red flags, she's going to go airborne. Dump and move on.
Am I the a-hole for not telling my friend she was getting fired and that I saved her job, which led to her getting super fired? I work with my best friend's girlfriend. Her and I are friendly but not really friends. If it weren't for her relationship with Jeremy, I would not be friends with her. I told her about the job in question and even put in a good word for her. She wasn't working out. She tried her best, but she had a personality clash with her supervisor. She was still in the 90-day probationary period, so she was going to be terminated with no notice. That's life, really. We regularly hire a bunch of people and keep the good ones and dismiss the ones that can't cut it or aren't a good fit. We actually were getting rid of over a dozen people that day. I know that her and Jeremy aren't doing well financially, so I stepped in and volunteered to take her on my team. It was a lateral move for her. I didn't really need her, but my boss gives me a lot of freedom in my department. I didn't want to freak her out, so I never told her she was not working out well on her team. To say the least, I can understand why she didn't work out. She is great at her job and a hard worker, but God Almighty, she has a terrible job site personality. She rubs everyone the wrong way, including my supervisor. He actually questioned my decision to transfer her to my team. I couldn't protect her from herself. Originally, she was just being terminated, and that was it. She would have been free to reapply to the company. Now she is on the nerf list, not eligible for rehire. She really thought the reason I got her to my team was because we needed her help. She alienated everyone. Again, she is good at the job and incredibly dedicated. She just is a shitty person to work with, and she brings down morale. I told Jeremy what happened, and he said he understood. But she is pissed. She said that if I had told her that she was on the chopping block, she would have behaved differently. She said it's kind of my fault for not warning her. I don't know. I feel badly for her, but she kind of dug her own grave.
She said that if I had told her that she was on the chopping block, she would have behaved differently. She said it's kind of my fault for not warning her. If I knew hurting others would hurt me, then I wouldn't have hurt others. You must be the real problem here. Not the a-hole. She should learn to not be a dick and also to not blame others for her being a dick.
Okay, said it perfectly. If her whole work ethic hinged on a heads up, that's a problem in itself. You didn't sabotage her. She just ran out of people to blame once the mirror got too clear. You saved her job once, not her entire personality.
I don't think you are the bad person in this, but I do think you should have told her about her attitude and how she should fix it. I think you should have explained that she needs to have a good attitude in jobs, and if she doesn't choose to take your advice, then she's in the wrong.
Am I the a-hole for financially screwing over my sister after finding out she's close with my ex and his wife? Usually, I wouldn't take personal advice from strangers online, but everyone in my life seems to think I'm a petty, scorned, bitter woman, which I probably am, and I need objective advice. My ex-husband, currently 43M, and I, 43F, were college sweethearts. For me, life felt perfect. I trusted him completely. That's why it was so shocking when I found out he was in love with his much younger colleague. She was around 24 at the time. I won't get into the details of how I found out, but the affair was well known at his workplace. When I confronted him, all he said was, "I'm sorry." I tried really hard not to fall for her. He didn't seem sorry at all. It felt like he wanted me to leave him. So I did. That was 6 years ago. Our son was 4 then, and it was the worst time of my life. I honestly don't know how I got through it. And because I was desperate, I wanted him to fight for me, to fight for our family. But he didn't. He was quick to sign the divorce papers and didn't even fight for custody. It was as if he had started a new life and completely erased the old one. It took years of therapy to feel normal again, to stop checking that woman's social media and comparing myself to her. The fact that she's very pretty and charming didn't help. His family loved her. And as disgusting as it sounds, one of our common friends even said it out loud. I don't support cheating, but I mean, look at her, when I told her about the cheating. I guess that's what everyone was thinking. This one was just stupid enough to voice it out. So I had to cut off that group of friends too. They got married 3 years ago and now have a daughter. A picture-perfect little family. The current arrangement is that our son stays with my ex on weekends and holidays, which works fine for the most part. Last week, I found out my sister, 28F, has been in touch with my ex all these years. That would have been forgivable, since they were close when we were married, and she saw him as a brother. But she's actually best friends with his new wife, and she kept it from me for 6 years. I only found out because she left her phone at my house, and I saw several texts from the wife. When I asked her about it, she just brushed it off and said it wasn't a big deal. I told her she can do what she wants, but I will be cutting her off completely. I was helping her pay her college loans, LOL. And going no contact. She called me unreasonable and said I'm being petty and unable to move on from something that happened a long time ago. She also said the wife is a lovely person and a good friend. She said she will be fucked, financially speaking. I told her to go F herself. Somehow, my parents agree with her. So, am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. Your sister has the right to be friends with whom she chooses to, and you have the right to do with your money as you wish. Take the money you have been contributing to her and put it in your son's college fund. Let your ex, his wife, and your parents pay for her school loans.
So your sister only cared to have you pay her loans. That's why she kept it a secret. And that's why you shouldn't feel bad cutting her off. She needs to ask your lovely ex and his wife to foot the bill from here on out. Not the a-hole.
What do you think? Please leave a comment, share and subscribe. Thank you.